Having no credit card, and never having been in debt, not even for a mortgage, I seem to be an unperson in a country which only narrowly voted not to live in a market. In 2001, the Labour government created a government gateway to many government departments, and soon after that I acquired an ID and password that allowed me to file income tax returns online, but now the ID and password no longer work. A Labour government created the Identity Cards Act of 2006, which started a national identity register, which allowed for 50 or more categories of information to be collected on people to identify individuals. But that register was destroyed in February 2011 by the Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition. In 2012, I acquired a government gateway ID and password for DVLA that still work, but that gateway is apparently due to be closed in March 2018. The online publication The Register, when it announced the change in May 2016, wished tax self-assessment users good luck. It said that the move raises serious questions as to whether the Verify replacement will provide a fit-for-purpose alternative for Gateway's 42 million online users. Typing Gov UK Verify into a web search engine may give you access to this web page. The picture shows that the Crown will give you a tick if it can verify you, and the text beneath it claims that its new way to government services online is safer, simpler and faster. The first section of the page is how Gov UK Verify works, and the third lists private companies certified by the government to certify the government that individuals have been verified. Following my posting of a paper self-assessment tax return for 2016-17 to HMRC, I received a letter dated the 10th of June which included total of over £8,000 for I know not what. I've substituted zeros for digits in most of the figures. The last figure is simply the first total minus the personal allowance. The last line of calculations ended with total income tax due £1,220.60. 8 days later, I was sent a letter which started, "You have overpaid £3.35, and concluded in bold print with, "Amount to pay 335 CR. How does one pay CR? On the back of that letter was information about self-assessment online, which now allowed online access to one's tax data, which should be more coherent than such letters. To use it, one could go to the Gov UK website, search for HMRC sign-in, and follow the on-screen instructions. I accessed the sign-in page and entered my Inland Revenue Government Gateway credentials, HMRC not having existed until April 2005. I was told, "Invalid user ID or password, try again." I entered my 2012 user ID and password, which still works for the DVLA, though the gateway to it is said to be closing next year. I was told, "Invalid user ID or password, try again." As I had cut and pasted the data for accuracy, I did not try again, but thought that I would be forced to try the new Verify system. I looked at the companies associated with Verify and how the process works, but learned too little about the process to be confident about using it. Here are 152 of the 241 words in the How It Works section I referred to previously. It should take between 5 and 15 minutes to verify your identity the first time you use Gov UK Verify. For some people it may take longer, weeks, months. When you use GovUK Verify to access a government service, you choose from a list of companies certified to verify your identity. The company you choose will ask you for some personal details. They will check those details. The company will then confirm your identity to the government service you're using. Using certified companies makes GovUK Verify a safer, simpler and faster way of accessing government services online. It's safe because information is not stored centrally and there's no unnecessary sharing of information. The company you choose doesn't know which service you're using, and the government department doesn't know which company you've chosen. As far as I understand it, every time you want to use a government service, you somehow get a new 6-digit access code which allows you to use the service. Using 8 or more databases instead of 1 is supposed to increase safety, and getting a new single-entry access code from a private company is supposed to be simpler and faster than using an unchanging ID and password as I did in the past. I reluctantly accessed the sign-in page and continued. When verified, I would have an identity account with the certified company. I started and answered questions to find out which company I might choose for verification. The next page told me to choose a company, had a link which offered to explain why there's a choice of companies, and then told me there was no choice. I should choose Experian. The link labelled About Experian led to information provided by Experian. I would need some items of personal information like my bank statements. Would Experian have access to those? I chose Experian nevertheless and was told Experian was unable to verify me. I had had no recent change in relevant circumstances and think that this certified company probably had no information about me at all except what I had told them. Having read an Experian statement which said, "We ask for debit or credit card details as part of our security checks," and having received an email with a footnote which said, "Please do not reply to this message, it was sent from an unmonitored email address," I didn't welcome this one-way welcome, as I would have liked to tell them to delete my personal details from their database. I looked online for other people's experience of Experian. At the top of the search results, I avoided Experian customer reviews as they were published by Experian Co. UK and chose Trustpilot.com. Trustpilot's first page had a heading which summed up their 197 reviews. Reviewers had to award 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 stars to Experian and write a review. There were 10 pages of reviews, and the number of reviewers in each of the 5 categories was 5 stars, excellent, 8, 4 stars, great, 0, 3 stars, average, 2, 2 stars, poor, 6, 1 star, bad, 181. Experian is one of Britain's 2 biggest credit agencies and stores credit card debts, mortgage figures and other financial commitments, even apparently what goes in and out of people's bank accounts. Both Experian and Equifax have of course been hacked, with computer data being collected perhaps by criminals. On the 28th of September 2017, I wrote to HMRC including this: "Not without misgivings, financial institutions these days not being routinely trustworthy, and doubtful about the result, as I had never in my life borrowed any money, I reluctantly gave Experian all the personal details they asked for online. Though when initially I had tried to verify myself, I was told that Experian were the only concern on offer likely to be able to verify me, the response I received from Experian was unable to verify your identity. As HMRC is apparently incapable of identifying a taxpayer who has been paying income tax without a break for well over half a century, I should like to know why. I am precluded from accessing my own data online and don't find the statements which arrive from HMRC through the post entirely clear. Verify is not related to HMRC, I was told by your assistant officer, but HMRC should be responsible for making relevant, clear data available to those it concerns without them having to refer the matter to their MP. I didn't trouble my MP or the Financial Secretary to the Treasury, as after what happened next, I opted for YouTube instead. A few days later, I was unexpectedly telephoned from HMRC by a person who would help me achieve verification. With the telephone in one hand and using a keyboard and sorting through papers with the other, I managed to get through the preliminaries, ID and password, and then was told that I would get a 6-figure access code via my landline telephone to enter on the current page on my computer. My guide would phone me again in a few minutes. When she phoned again, the code had not arrived, so she said that she would telephone again next morning. Some time later the phone rang, and I wrote the number down as the computer slowly uttered 6 digits twice. I typed the code into the on-screen text box and clicked Continue, and was told, "You have entered an invalid access code. Enter the 6-digit code we sent to your landline." Several minutes later the phone rang again, and I wrote down a new access code. A few minutes later the phone rang again with a new number. I returned to the computer to type in the code, but was told, "Automatic timeout. You'll need to sign in again. Continue." My ID and password took me to the We're changing the way you sign in page, and I clicked Continue. After a couple of wrong choices, I chose voice call and gave my phone number again. The phone rang almost immediately. I wrote down the number twice, entered it on the web page, and was told, "You have successfully set up extra security. You'll be called with a new access code to your landline phone every time you sign in. Continue." I clicked Continue, which produced a screen which said, "Sorry, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Please try again in a few minutes." It was 16 minutes to 10 p.m. After a while I reloaded the page. It was unchanged. I reloaded the page a second time soon after 10:30 p.m. It still said, "Please try again in a few minutes." But I did not. The next morning, Friday the 20th of October, I tried again to sign into Gov UK. I filled in my personal details and clicked Continue. The new page said, "There's a technical problem. We're unable to confirm your identity at the moment. Please try again later." At 6:45 p.m. on 20th of October, I tried again to access my tax page on HMRC. I got to the "We just need to confirm who you are" page. When I was asked, "Do you have a valid UK passport?" I answered no, as my passport is out of date. I think my other answers were satisfactory, but the process went by so quickly that I did not have time to note everything down. When the page asked me to wait, I think, it said, we're checking your identity with a credit agency. The next page was headed, We're unable to confirm your identity. Under that it said, You can't access this service because Revenue and Customs, HMRC, doesn't know enough about you to be able to confirm your identity.